All right, so now it's time to get these all organized to turn in. So I'm over here in Lightroom and I've imported all of my photos. It should look something like this, and it might be easier to see if you make sure that you have 5 going across. And if you need to change that, there's this little thumbnail slider that makes, come on, that, oh, I keep grabbing the wrong thing. Okay, that makes the thumbnails larger or smaller. So if we bring it up so that we can get 5 across, we can kind of see the effects already of what happened. So if you remember, I was starting with my metering on the white bags at 0, but look how gray it looks. That's because the meter is trying to get everything at 18%. But once I overexposed by 2 stops, now we're getting that nice white that we know the bag is. Another really fun thing is that, because we did this in bright sunlight, in the shade, and then indoors, we can start seeing the different effects of the white balance as well. I believe I had my white balance set to auto. That's probably where yours is set. And the automatic settings still came up with slightly different looks. So what we're going to do now is first we want to reorganize these a little bit, because I want to get all the white bags to be first in line, the ones that look white, the overexposed ones. So if you just imported, then you're going to be at this previous import folder. Where I want to be is the actual folder these are in. So in this case, I'm here in my metering project. So if I click on this folder, this is where I imported my photos into. I made a new folder named metering project. And now I can actually move these around. So I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Awesome. So another thing we're going to do is we're going to add titles to these so we know where they were taken and everything. So let's go ahead and start with this one. I'm going to come over here to title, and this is in the metadata area. If you don't see this, it might just be that this metadata panel is closed. So just click on the little arrow next to it and it'll open up. So we click on the title area, and I'm going to name this sun underscore white underscore score overexposed. Okay, sweet. Now I'm going to name this one sun underscore white underscore let's say correct exposure. Correct. How about meter at 0? There we go. Because we know that's not the correct exposure. The correct exposure is the overexposed one. But this is the one where the meter was actually set at 0 when we took the photo. So let's leave it at that. Then we have our brown bag. So it doesn't really matter if yours is brown or white or gray. Let's just say medium at 0. And if you want to add underscores between these, that's fine. It's up to you. Whatever makes most sense in your head. All right, and then this is going to be the black bag. So let's go to title, and oh, did I add? Because I did sun here. Oh, and make sure I put sun here. So we want to make sure we're going to be putting this all in one document, so we can just kind of look and see the settings that we used, the type of lighting we use, all the information in one place. So let's do sun there. Okay. And let's do this one. And I'm going to name this one sun underscore black underscore meter at 0. And then this one will be sun black, and this one is underexposed. We underexposed by 2 stops to get this richer black color. Okay, and if you accidentally did what I did and this is now full screen and you want to see them all, you could just come right down here and click on this little grid icon and it'll take you back to the grid. Okay, so we have those ones done. Now I'm going to pause for a second and name the rest. I'm going to name these ones the exact same, except I'm going to name this one, this row starting with shade, and then this row starting with indoors. So you're going to do the same thing, but I'm just going to pause so you don't have to watch me do this. Okay, so I have all of these files renamed, and now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the print tab of Lightroom. Now we're not actually going to print this from a printer per se, but we're going to set up this document so we can see it all and output it as one file. So if you come right up here, we're going to make sure that for the layout style, we're at single image / contact sheet. Now, this print tab contact sheet setting is created for photographers who are sending out lots of photos to their client for them to choose from. So if you're going to end up doing something like that in the future, let's say portrait photography, commercial photography, where, like I said, you have to send out a bunch of images to clients so they can see them, this is actually going to be really handy. And you'll see why in a second. We're using it a little differently for our assignment, but it could be used to basically put a preview of a bunch of images onto one page. Okay, so we have 15 images we're going to be playing with, and I think I want this to be horizontal. So before we start all this, I'm going to come all the way down here to the bottom, and we're going to change this to the print job. We're going to change to JPEG file. Okay, and when we do that, we have this area. I'm actually going to move this over here. We have this area here where we have the file resolution, print sharpening, media type, all this. I'm actually want to come down here to custom file dimensions, and I'm going to click here, and you can see it's set at 8.5 by 11. Actually, I'm going to switch these numbers. I'm going to put in 11 by 8.5. All right, and now we have it as a horizontal instead of a vertical. I think that's going to work better for what we're doing with this. All right, so now let's come up here, and I want to fit 15 photos on here, and I'm going to do them in 5 columns and 3 rows. So let's take the rows up to 3. You can use the slider, or you can just click right into here, and I'm going to put 5 columns. All right, so now we have 15 areas for each of our photos. Sweet. Yeah, I like this layout. And you can see for the photo that's selected right now, which is this one, we have it over here, and we actually have the title showing down here. The title we just gave it. Let's come back down here. And you might not see it on yours because you don't have this checked on yet. But come down here under Page and click on Photo Info. And here there's title selected. That's why we're seeing the title. Now we're going to take this a step further. I'm going to click on here and go to Edit. Because what I want to see is, I don't want to just see the title. I am wanting to see the title. I want to see... So if we come here to the XF data, I want to see the exposure. Oh, here we go, exposure. And I'm actually going to add an underscore between these. I'm going to add an underscore here, and then I'm going to come back here and go to ISO speed rating. Okay, and I'm going to hit done. So now what we have is we have the name, indoors black, overexposed. We have the actual settings we used, 1/60th of a second at f5.6 and at ISO 2000. Pretty sweet. So now we can have like a quick visual of what's going on. Now, how do I get all my photos into here? What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this first one, and then holding down the Shift key, I'm going to click on the last photo. Now, these last 5 are my artsy, try to play around ones, so I'm not going to click those. I'm going to hold down Shift and click the last one here. Aha! So now we have a representation, a visual representation, and a text representation of the work that we just did. This is pretty awesome. So what else can we do to play around with this? There's all kinds of settings in here. We have a rotate to fit, which is turned on, and that's why everything got rotated. Let's see what happens here. That feels a little bit cleaner. There's a little bit more space between stuff, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know, let's see. Yeah, because I don't want to, I like to be able to clearly see that text also. We can play with the stroke border. We could put a stroke around each image. I don't think that's really necessary. Margins. And the margins are going to be the spaces up here. That's fine. Cell spacing. Give it a little bit of space. There we go. And a little bit of space. Actually, I'll leave them next to each other like that. I like that. Okay. You can play with this stuff here, making different sizes, different widths. And this is the show guides. The guides are more for us as we're working on it. The guides won't actually be in the final image. So if you want to see what it's going to look like, you can unclick the show guides, and this is what we have right now. Okay, if you really wanted to, you can add a page background color. I'm going to keep it white, nice and simple. You can add watermarks. There's all kinds of stuff you can add into this. Okay, so now that I have this all done, this is a great way for me to just quickly see what the metering is doing. And I'm going to click Print to File. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and save this as Redondo _ photo 6 _ metering project. Awesome. And if you're not in the right folder, you can click on this little arrow here and you can navigate to exactly where you want to go. So let's see. Oh, I thought I made a folder for this. Let's see. Metering project. There we are. All right. And so I can go ahead and hit save. And it's preparing the print job right now. All right. So that's going to be saved to the location I went to. Now, the last thing we need to do is let's pick a photo for our critique, our artsy, stuff. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to hit F to look at these at full screen. Okay, this is all right. Meh. Thought I was getting fun. I was really having fun with these shadows, but yeah, it doesn't look as cool as when I was shooting it, and that happens sometimes. This almost looks like a face, so that's kind of cool. Almost like a mummy. Halloween-ish. Okay, so for me personally, I think I'm going to stick with this one. I like the very geometric feel. It is, it feels like some minimalist, abstract type of thing. So I think I'm going to pick that one to turn in for the critique assignment. All right, so what you're going to be turning in is the JPEG that you just created with all of those different images, renamed and everything, and then your one photo, your artsy photo that you like the best. That's also what we're going to be critiquing for next week. All right, guys, so get out there and have fun with your meter.